I always just wanted to be happy, to be very honest with you, and find some meaning in my life. And I didn't really have that for a very long time. So yeah, it was touch and go for a long time. I suffered with my own mental health for many years. So that's when people resort to the usual forms of escape, you know what I mean? Drinks and drugs. It's hard to say where I'll be. Like, I could be in a very, very bad place, like, you know. I might not even be here, to be fairly honest with you. So it is, yeah, like, I'm so grateful to be here every day, I suppose. Hi, I'm Ciaran Mason. I'm the manager of Stronger Glenageary, and I'm a lead student. What was life before elite like? Oh, tell me. It was up and down, mostly down, I would say. Survival mode, I would say, for like 10 years, trying to escape all my problems, you know what I mean? I didn't have any urge to fulfill my potential. Just a lot of escapism through, you know, alcohol, drugs, the whole lot. So for years, just, you know, different, really, like, you know, jobs in retail and stuff like that. But mostly I wasn't doing that. That was good for my health, my physical or mental health. It was probably like the worst part of my life was rock bottom, you know what I mean? So that's when I found the urge to really turn things around. I was always into sports, and I went to start going to the gym when I was really young. And it was always, for me, as I said, most positive coping mechanism I had. It was always my escape, and I knew if I could combine that with a career that I could help people, I just knew I had to put everything into this course, you know what I mean? Getting out of your comfort zone is obviously a massive thing. Taking a risk and going all in on something, you know, back against the wall. If it didn't work out, as I said, I didn't know what would happen, you know? Yeah, just trying to be the best version of myself that I can be. So I put all my eggs in that basket. I emptied my savings, put it all into it. It's all about risk, and yeah, it was the best decision I ever made, most definitely. When I was at that kind of lowest point in my life, and I decided I need to make something of myself and turn things around, I told myself I had to build a career that was going to allow me to help other people, and a career that would be fulfilled. And I knew that personal training and coaching would allow me to change people's lives, not only physically but mentally as well. So it was a win-win. Obviously I was so into fitness and stuff, so it was ideal. Biggest fear, failing. Failing would have been my biggest fear, definitely. Because if it didn't work out, I had no plan B, I had no savings. And at that stage of my life, if I didn't succeed, I don't know what I would have done, to be honest with you. So it was all or nothing, you know what I mean? I backed myself into a corner. It was such good crack, to be honest. Yeah, even from the tutors to the other students. We had such a great crew. It was just a nice, tight little family you got, and it was just so fun. It wasn't intimidating, and even as I spoke before about the fear of talking in front of people, you know, even from day one we got to introduce ourselves, and it just made me feel so much more at ease. We're all there to better ourselves, start a new career, or even if you didn't want to go into fitness, it was like to know more about your own health and your own training. But like some of the people I went who was in a crew with us, I'm still mates with them, you know what I mean? So I still keep in contact, which is amazing, of course. I always just wanted to be happy, to be very honest with you, and find some meaning in my life. And yeah, I finally found what I feel like is my purpose in life, and that's to help people in similar situations like myself. Well, I had done like a sport leisure course after school, and I dropped out in the second year because, you know, I told myself I didn't want to be teaching step aerobics, you know what I mean? I couldn't see myself working in that type of gym. I was hired just before we had our last exam, practical exam. I was hired by another gym called Elite Training. Obviously, being hired just before I actually did the exam, obviously it was a big confidence boost. First time working in a gym, and it just went from strength to strength, you know what I mean? I became manager a few months later, which is great. Obviously getting the go ahead from the boss. You know, I never saw myself as a manager in any aspect of life, but yeah, as far as the job itself has been a dream come true. It's a great community full of great people, and I get to, you know, again, have a positive impact on people on a day-to-day basis, which is amazing. I feel like I've never stuck with a job longer than this one. I'm here 3 years. I would have been a quitter in the past. I would have quit, like, you know, college courses, jobs, relationships whenever it got tough. So kind of rewired that, and it's kind of like I'm no longer the quitter I used to be. You know what I mean? So especially with this job, obviously it can get tough, but it's a dream come true. And on those bad days, you have to remind yourself, it's like, this is everything I've always wanted. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a career, it's a way of life. You know what I mean? It's a community gym, and, like, you know, the people we train, I care for, and I've made so many good friends from this gym, and they care for me. And, you know, if I'm having a bad day, they can bring me up, or if they know I'm not in a good headspace, they come over and ask me. You know what I mean? So it's definitely more than just a gym, definitely. I started fundraising for SOS, Suicide Survive, 2022. First fundraiser for them for Hell and Back, and it was very successful. And then the following year we did 2 fundraisers, and then they brought me on board as an ambassador. So hopefully to get that to 30 grand this year would be nice. I suppose I started doing 5 and 10Ks, and did our first half marathon in Clontarf, the Eco Trail, 80 kilometers. So that's this year's big challenge. You can't live in fear, you know. I suppose I spent so long in my life in that comfort zone. Didn't want to attempt anything new because I was afraid of obviously failing. I became a quitter in so many things that it prevented me from even starting in the first place. So that fear of failure just prevented me from, you know, reaching my full potential. If I was still in that bubble, I wouldn't have achieved half of what, or nothing in the last 3 years, you know what I mean? So my life, compared to what it was, is just a dream come true, and it just started with getting out of your comfort zone, you know, taking a risk, just backing yourself 100%, and like from then on it's just a snowball effect, you know. You just get addicted to self-improvement and becoming the best version of yourself. It takes courage to step out of that comfort zone, but you can do it. You can turn your life around. Doesn't matter how things are looking right now, you can definitely turn it around. Find some meaning. I think a life without meaning can be pretty hopeless. I think if you can find your meaning, some sort of purpose, you have nothing to lose. If you were like me 10 years ago, you honestly have nothing to lose. You know, you're pretty much just living like a zombie. For me personally, it changed my life. So it all started with Elite Academy.